Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something completely fascinating. We're unpacking a really unique intersection of ancient numerology, personal healing, and modern digital services. We're looking at a platform called Number Harmonics. Whether you're a skeptic, a music lover, or just someone who loves analyzing unique systems, this structured look at how abstract numbers are being turned into consumer audio products is going to be incredibly interesting.
So, I want you to just think about this for a second. What if your date of birth actually had a melody? And I don't mean a song chosen for you by an algorithm, but a piece of music composed note by note from the unique frequencies encoded in the exact day you were born. Well, according to our source material, a practitioner named Eluesinian claims to have spent over 50 years doing exactly that. He offers this whole suite of musical healing services that translate the significant dates of your life into personalized harmonic structures. It's a bold claim, right? But today, we're going to impartially map out exactly how this system is structured and sold.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, we're going to cover 1. The ancient art reborn, 2. Personal harmonic portraits, 3. Healing relationships, 4. Orchestrations and addiction, and finally, 5. DIY harmonics and resources.
All right, part 1. The ancient art reborn. Okay, so before we look at what they actually sell, we really need to understand the core premise here. Number Harmonics defines itself as a system that translates important life dates into music, and they do this using Vedic math and Pythagorean numerology. The site claims that back in the day, if you visited an ancient Greek healing temple, an Asclepiad, musicians would actually create a tailored song based on your natal frequencies, and Liatium claims to have essentially recreated this lost art. The big idea here is that your life is basically a series of cycles. And think about this for a second. Compressing these cycles into musical patterns, your inner self supposedly recognizes the tune, attunes to it, and opens the door for profound personal healing.
Moving on to part 2, personal harmonic portraits.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how they price the entry point to all this ancient wisdom. For $100, you can get what they call the personal song download. Basically, this is a single 4-minute track composed entirely from your specific date of birth. The service describes this track as a, quote, powerful and tonic tool for health and healing. It's presented as the most basic entry-level way to convert your personal harmonic structure into an easy-to-listen-to digital track.
But if you're looking for deeper answers, the site quickly scales up. If you compare that basic $100 track to their $400 complete personal chart, things get way more complex. This comprehensive option gives you 4 distinct songs, and the data they need from you suddenly leaps. It's not just your birth date anymore. They require your full name, your birth date, plus the birth dates of your parents and your children. The platform describes these 4 songs as intimate song portraits that are designed specifically to help the listener find their life purpose and let go of their past. And to back up the efficacy of these personalized tracks, the source material shares some pretty wild testimonials. There's this one prominent story about a client named Patricia from Arizona. According to the site, Patricia actually had a hole in her heart and was scheduled for surgery. Well, she claims that after receiving and listening to her harmonic track, she blacked out, woke up feeling refreshed, and went to her pre-op checkup where her surgeon supposedly delivered this exact quote, "I can't explain it, but the hole in your heart has gone." Now, the site maintains a totally neutral stance on the mechanics of this, with Liatium just stating that the music simply helped her body align to where it was originally meant to be.
All right, part 3, healing, relationships, and trauma. Stepping even further up the catalog, we hit the relationship download, which sits at $700. This package is explicitly marketed for households experiencing disharmony. It's a whole series of songs intended to form a bridge of understanding and basically resolve conflicts between partners. And honestly, this is kind of funny. They issue a very strict disclaimer that this is only for current relationships. So no, you cannot use this to magically bring an ex-partner back into your life.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer amount of data they claim is required at this tier. To reforge all these cycles into a personalized song of love, Liatium needs a massive amount of harmonic data poured into the system. You've got to provide the birth dates of both parties, the birth dates of all 4 parents, the birth dates of any children, and relationship milestones like wedding anniversaries. All of this numerical data is supposedly compressed and translated into the $700 musical suite.
Alongside the relationship package is the Spiritual Awakening download. Now, this service takes a slightly darker, more therapeutic angle. It's focused on people dealing with depression, anxiety, or past trauma. And what makes this download unique within their system is that it intentionally incorporates your most difficult life dates, like the date of the loss of a loved one. The claim here is that by translating these painful dates into music, the listener can release deep energies, break the shackles of the mind, and ultimately reset their internal clock to find peace. It really speaks to that deep human desire to find some sort of resolution in our darkest moments.
Part 4, Orchestrations and Addiction Relief.
So at the very top end of their catalog is the orchestration option. This is the luxury tier, costing an astonishing $2,000. Instead of a series of short 3 to 4 minute songs, this is a massive, fully orchestrated 20-minute extended session. The source text notes that this takes well over 20 hours to compile. Interestingly, the site mentions that people rarely buy this for themselves. It's almost exclusively purchased as an extraordinary surprise gift for a loved one.
Now contrast that massive $2,000 bespoke orchestration with their absolute cheapest offering, the $30 Addiction download. Unlike every other service we've looked at, this is not personalized to your specific life dates. It's actually a very specific, pre-recorded compilation that was created over 20 years ago. The site describes it specifically as a harmonic stretch for internal areas that have long been unworked, and it's intended to break the cycle of cravings and isolation.
The origin story they give for this $30 track is honestly pretty wild. Lithium claims he was serendipitously mixing random tracks of 7 spiritual leaders in his home studio. A girl with deep emotional scars and addiction issues wandered in, laid on his couch, and fell into a trance. Upon waking hours later, the source material claims she delivered this exact sentiment, feeling suddenly cured of her cravings and aches. They do warn, however, and this is a big caveat, that for people without addiction issues, this specific audio track apparently sounds incredibly jarring and unpleasant.
Let's move to Part 5 and see how this builds. DIY harmonics and resources.
So, Number Harmonics actually offers a pretty big catalog of resources for the do-it-yourself learner. If you want to study the system yourself, there's a $300 harmonic healing course taught via Zoom, which includes a workbook that they call the Play Shop. If you prefer to just read about it, the 10-minute numerology book is available to teach you those underlying Pythagorean techniques. For those looking to just sample the vibe, they offer pre-made tracks streaming on Spotify and Apple Music for just $1. And finally, if you just want to poke around, they offer free service pages teaching numerical chart interpretations.
But the crucial point is how they blend ancient history with the cutting edge. In their $300 course, they outline a 3-step process that requires absolutely zero musical ability. First, you learn to resolve a date into musical patterns. Second, you just plunk those notes out on any instrument and record it on your phone. Third, and this is the modern twist, you upload that crude recording into a modern AI music engine like Suno, which extrapolates those baseline harmonics into a fully produced song. Really fascinating mashup of ancient Pythagorean theory and modern artificial intelligence.
Now, for those who just want to stream those $1 pre-made tracks with titles like Morning Mist or Grace Falls Like Rain, the site is very clear about what those actually do. Because they lack your personal data, they aren't going to provide deep, bespoke healing. Instead, the creator refers to them simply as an all-purpose aspirin for the soul. They're general tonics designed with underlying harmonic codes to offer hope and release rather than targeted intervention. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. We've looked at the claims, the structure, and the prices behind translating dates into audio healing. Whether you view this as a profound reimagining of ancient Greek medicine, an all-purpose aspirin for the soul, or just a fascinatingly elaborate musical placebo, it definitely leaves us with an incredibly intriguing thought experiment. If you had to compress your own existence into a melody, what dates would make up the song of your life? Thanks for joining me on this one. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.